Welcome to Boxing During Dinner, episode 22.
Sitting on deuces now.
Exactly.
Like rappers.
I feel like we haven't done this show forever.
It
like if somebody went to Spain and just came back,
because the
last week's episode
continue.
was recorded for some reason.
Yeah, we'll see. People are calling us because they've missed us so bad.
I know. That's why they have welcome home.
Welcome. Yeah.
There were people that were in Spain, and none of them are me.
It's interesting. Well, apparently it wasn't me either because I've been here each week.
Right. You were here last week, or 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago when we recorded 2 episodes.
But I have missed you. Yes, I was in Spain.
But he was in Spain. Yeah. But anyway, episode 22. But we have to start off before we talk about boxing and the Ortitz Mayweather fight. Harvey's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Check it out right
Harvey
here.
Alexander, who's the executive chef and owner of the restaurant. It is delicious food.
Rather than show them the
You know what?
styrofoam, let's show them what's going on in here.
Look at this. This is a pulled pork sandwich that I'm about to take a bite out of. It looks delicious.
And this is a chicken wrap with a lot less of the extras on there because I am trying to get back into some good shape. And I will take a bite of mine as well because that's boxing during dinner. It's kind of what we're supposed to do.
So we're gonna put.
Oh, and to the hater on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, we're eating better food this week. Hope you enjoy it. I know we are.
Exactly. And Harvey's Smokehouse Barbecue. We're gonna put the information. If you mention boxing during dinner, you do get a special offer, which you'll see here across your screen. And you can tell Harvey that you saw him on Boxing During Dinner.
That's awesome.
Not only did our hater they didn't like our food selection, but they said that when we have guests, we should get them better wine. So over here, we have a bottle of Truchard wine from Napa Valley.
Yeah. Hi,
Tempranillo 2006. You can look them up at truchardvineyards.com. This is some quality wine.
Yeah.
And if you say that it's not, then you don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't know wine.
Yeah, no wine for you, buddy. We're gonna drink it all.
Yeah, it's not Boone's at the gas station. So we're gonna get right to business. We have a very special guest today, and we always have a very special guest, but tonight it's extra special because we have from Telemundo Network and Boxeo Telemundo, Jessi Losada.
All right.
Jessi, welcome to
I
Boxing
would
During
clap
Dinner.
a little bit louder.
Sit here in the middle.
How terribly rude of me. I would give you a handshake, but now I have a
That's all right.
and a handful of food.
Welcome to the show.
A pleasure.
Pat you on the back.
Thanks
so much.
Harvey, I actually
Let's see, what
got
did I
you
get?
some food. It's
Oh, look at this, huh?
it's
Nice.
sloppy. Their version of the sloppy Joe, which is barbecue meat
Nice.
with onion rings.
Sure.
Doesn't look that bad. Looks
looks
serve
very
up
good.
a little bit more here.
And actually, we're gonna
The wine is very good.
And
let me
actually,
say.
we're gonna pour you some wine. And thanks to Anthony Truchard and his beautiful wife Suzanne for this wine. You need to go check them out if you're ever in Napa Valley. And I know Jessi
good.
goes plenty to
I've been
California.
there a few times. But it is very good, the wine.
So Jessi, this upcoming Saturday, Victor Ortiz and Floyd Mayweather Jr. It's a highly anticipated fight because for the first time in a long time, Floyd Mayweather's fighting a guy that's much younger and that's bigger than him.
Yeah.
But even with that said, do you think Victor Ortiz has a chance?
Not really. I don't think he has much of a chance. I think the fight is being hyped up, you know. But I think everybody who goes into a ring, steps into a ring, is going to have a chance to win a fight. But not in this case. Mayweather's just too fast for him, and he's also got power too because Mayweather can hit. So I don't think he really has much of a chance to prevail, and he really hasn't done anything other than the Berto fight. I mean, the Berto fight was great. That was the best fight of his career, but I think that's as far as it goes, really.
I've got to agree. In fact, when we discussed this a few weeks back, I referenced the fight against Lamont Peterson as maybe a better barometer of what Victor Ortiz really is. And Lamont Peterson's not the best boxer, but he found a way to box with Ortiz, a little bit later in the fight, and he gave him a lot of trouble. And this is something even you see on 24/7 when you see Ortiz training. He lunges a little bit far, and I just feel like against arguably the most skilled boxer in his entire generation, Mayweather is just going to cut him up.
And plus, after that Maidana fight, I have to question his heart too, to a certain degree,
Yeah, he says he has big heart and everything, and you know what? I like the kid. He has a good background story. It would be a great story if he knocks out Floyd Mayweather, the best pound for pound fighter in boxing. But yeah, that fight against Maidana, even though he beat Berto and Lamont Peterson and he's won, I think, 4 fights after that, if I'm not mistaken, you still got to question the kid's heart because he basically quit in that fight.
Pretty much. And he said he didn't want to fight anymore. And I mean, he changed his mind right away. But nonetheless, that image is still there. And, it's not that easy to get rid of it. I know he's been through a lot in his life, and but still, I don't know.
We will switch really quick to Eric Morales. Eric Morales was supposed to fight Lucas Matisse, a fight that I thought he would lose. Mm-hmm. He's still going to fight for the WBC title against Pablo Cesar Cano from Mexico, young 21-year-old kid. Do you think this kid poses a threat, or do you think the WBC has been more than cautious in picking an opponent for him that poses no trouble, gives Morales the 4th title in 4 divisions?
Totally. And I think that more than the WBC, it was Golden Boy Promotions that picked him because he is a Golden Boy Promotions prospect. He's got an unbeaten record. He's 21 years old, but he really hasn't fought anybody. I mean, he hasn't fought anybody of any importance. So who knows? He might be good. He might not. I mean, you really don't know. But it's a perfect setup for Eric Morales to give him that 4th title in the 4th division. And I think at this point, you almost have to think that the World Boxing Council just didn't want to return the fee, Which sanctioning fee is at $50,000.
They'll do anything they can to collect it. They've got to be cheering that Mayweather actually decided to pay the sanctioning fee this time around.
Exactly. Well, they're going to make a lot of money on that fight because all 3 of the fights are
right. The Canelo fight as well.
Yeah. So
must be nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a big paycheck for them.
I was up at Eric Morales' training camp in Mexico.
Yeah, I heard that was quite a trip.
At Otomia, it's quite a trip to get up there. If you have a chance to go up there to that training camp, just don't. Just stay in Mexico City or something. But Eric Morales looked old to me. He looked old. He looked slow. He looked sluggish. He was taking a lot of shots from his sparring partner. Do you think that last fight against Maidana, in which he did so well, I mean, he did better than I expected him to. I thought he would go down in 3 rounds. Do you think that might have been his last hurrah?
Maybe. I mean, he's really not that old for a boxer, but the thing is that he started out as a professional very young, and he's been in some wars. I mean, some real wars, the fights with Marco Antonio Barrera, even the fights with Manny Pacquiao. I mean, those fights took a lot out of him. So.
Even early on in his career against Zaragoza. He beat Zaragoza, but Zaragoza almost knocked him out in the 11th round.
Well, the thing is, he gets hit a lot. He's a very open fighter, and he fights. He doesn't care if he gets hit.
A lot of people thought he'd lose the Maidana fight. But then you look back on it and you can see why Morales might have had a decent shot in this fight, in the sense that Maidana is not a slick boxer. He's a slow fighter. He just happens to pack a punch and a chin that's literally, it seems, undentable. But against a younger fighter who's a little bit quicker, maybe speed is gonna be his enemy. It's gonna be his undoing, or not. But that's why they have the fights, and they got a young kid in there, and that seems to be the theme of the night: old versus young.
That's right. It's gonna be. It's gonna be.
I just think it's gonna fare better for Mayweather, though.
I think so.
One of your favorite fighters of all time, Saúl El Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's gonna fight Alfonso Gomez. That can't be much of a fight.
No, it really can't be, and it won't be. Because he's not very large and physically, and I think that Canelo's just gonna wipe him out. But that's the way they look at it. They want to make a lot of money off this fight. Canelo right now is an idol, and I say there's 2 sides of the story. One side is that he's 20 years old. He's still a kid. They're trying to bring him up little by little. But if he's a world champion already, it's his responsibility to face the best boxers. But that said, the real responsibility is the World Boxing Council, who has to make him fight the best fighters.
And I'd say Golden Boy Promotions as well, because Golden Boy Promotions has a piece of Erislandy Lara, who's a very good fighter, and they just picked up Alfredo Angulo. I mean, it seems that they're picking up these guys to keep them away from Canelo.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because common sense tells you that Lara and or Angulo should be the next 2 guys to fight Canelo, and it probably won't be. Lara himself told me, there's no way they're going to put me in there against Canelo.
It's interesting how, and even in a loss, if you want to call it that, Lara loses to Paul Williams. He's now the most avoided fighter at 154 pounds. Nobody
wants to fight him.
That's true. And listen, the other day I was talking to our promoter from Boxeo Telemundo, and I was saying, remembering when I was a kid too, there was 2 major boxing associations, and there were of course just 8 divisions. So there were actually only 16 world champions in the whole world, and some of them actually held 2 titles. So sometimes it was less. Now there's like 170
Isn't that unbelievable?
world champions. And if you count the regional titles, it's almost 1,000 champions. I mean, that's,
I have a regional
it's
title. I
very
just haven't stood up, but it's around my waist
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
absolutely. Everybody's got
I
one.
have one of them. But Jessi, you've been calling boxing a long time. You do color commentating for Boxeo Telemundo. You worked at Univision before. You've been doing this a long time. What's one fight that stands out in your mind the most that you've called?
That I've called, I think the first fight that we did in Univision Network, that we, I don't remember the fight, but I just remember the actual event itself, because it was an amazing thing. We had just cut a deal with Don King, and that was back in 1986, 87, around there. It was a Boxeo Estelar program. The first one we did was in Cleveland, Ohio. And it was myself, Norberto Longo, rest in peace, and we had two commentators. One of them was Mike Tyson, and the other one was Julio Cesar Chavez.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's an amazing broadcast, and it was a very good fight, and we had a wonderful time. And then right afterwards, it was at the Cleveland Convention Center, was Mike Tyson's birthday party. So we got to go to that afterwards, which was like an all-star gig.
What kind of cake did they have?
Oh my God, they had everything. Just an amazing fight. So that to me stands out as like, an incredible fight. Now, other than that, I've done a few fights that are memorable, including one for Julio Cesar Chavez, which to me is one of the greatest ever. But there's so many great moments in boxing throughout the years. When I was a kid, I got to meet Muhammad Ali, because my dad was in this business, in the boxing business too. So I even have a picture of Muhammad Ali that says, "Get well, Jessi," because I was in school and I was sick, and my dad got him to sign that.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember growing up, my dad showing me pictures of Cuban boxing and seeing your dad with, Kid Chocolate and Kid Gavin,
right,
the all-time greats. One more thing, tough stories that you do as a broadcaster. One stands out, Genaro Hernandez. You interviewed him a couple of months before he died.
That's right.
And I remember you telling me that was probably one of the toughest stories you've ever had to do.
It really was because, it was obvious when we got there that, he was in his last few weeks of life, battling cancer for I don't know how many years he has had it, like 5 years or something. And, it was very difficult to interview him in the room, with his wife was there, his two kids. And, he just completely broke down and started crying. And it was very hard. His wife, I could see his wife off the side of my eyes that she just walked away, when that happened because she was so totally broken down too. And that was a tough moment. That was a very tough moment. But you were there. You saw it.
Yeah, it was very tough. And I remember we filmed boxing during dinner, and I'm saying that I heard he was in bad shape. The next day he passed away.
He passed away. Yeah.
But
he was a great guy.
Very good guy.
Very nice
one of the best in
He's
boxing.
A gentleman. Yeah, he was a true gentleman.
Far and few between.
But before we go, we can't go out before talking a little controversy. We could go back to that Ortiz Mayweather fight. The Ortiz camp, Danny Garcia, his brother Robert Garcia, they don't speak.
Right.
They actually had a falling out because of Victor Ortiz. And now Danny Garcia is saying that if he were ever to fight Brandon Rios, he'd knock him out. Brandon Rios is not that good a champion. Hey, all that bickering between family, you get a little tired of it, between Mayweather Sr. and Mayweather Jr., the Garcias.
Yeah.
These people in boxing don't get along.
And there's no need for that, especially without this fight being held yet. You don't know what's going to happen against Mayweather. He could look really bad, and, it's going to turn out to be him asking for Brandon Rios for a shot, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it for Boxing During Dinner, episode 22. Jessi, we want to thank you for being on the show. Some very good stuff.
Big weekend coming up. Be sure to check out next week. We'll be back to do a recap of Mayweather Ortiz. There will be a result by then.
And Morales against
will
Cano
and
a title
Canelo. Again? Who knows? All these Mexicans, all these WBC holders. The WBC is going to make a ton of money.
And there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to talk about coming up. We're turning around because the Dolphins are playing the Patriots, so we'll get back to that. Since this is filmed at
Detroit
night.
Lions are 1-0.
But be
Motor
sure,
City Motorcade.
Be sure to check out boxingduringdinner.com in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll finally be up.
Next couple of days.
Check us out. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out also on Facebook, facebook.com/Boxing During
you
Dinner.
guys don't even know. On our Twitter, @BoxDuringDinner, we actually have a customized background now. a boxing during dinner customized background.
It's amazing. We're
Have to check
At
it
least
out.
we got something. There's no website yet, but we got something.
We also want to thank our viewers, especially Abu Hamed, and and also Harvey's Smokehouse Barbecue. Check them out. This is a delicious pulled pork sandwich.
really is. It's
I
very
actually
good.
need to wrap this up so I could start eating because it's
I already
really
ate
really
mine.
good.
One's
So
gone.
check out Harvey. See you next week.